In the late 1500s, over 100 English settlers arrived on a small island off the coast of North America. 3 years later, they were gone. No bodies were found. No battle site was discovered. No message remained, except for a single word carved into wood: Croatoan. To this day, nobody knows exactly what happened to the lost colony of Roanoke. And for more than 4 centuries, historians have searched for answers. The story begins during the reign of Elizabeth I, at a time when England was trying to compete with Spain and France in the exploration of the New World. England wanted land, resources, and a permanent colony in North America. In 1584, English explorers reached an island along the coast of present-day North Carolina. The island was called Roanoke. The expedition was supported by Sir Walter Raleigh, who had received permission from the Queen to establish colonies overseas. Early reports described the region as rich with forests, wildlife, and fertile land. Soon, plans were made to send settlers across the Atlantic. The first colony arrived in 1585, but conditions were difficult. Food became scarce. Relationships with local indigenous tribes became tense, and the settlers eventually returned to England. But England did not give up. In 1587, a second group of settlers sailed to Roanoke. This time, the mission was different. These were not soldiers. They were families. Men, women, and children. In total, around 115 settlers made the journey. The colony was led by John White. Among the settlers was White's daughter, Eleanor Dare, and soon after arriving, she gave birth to a baby girl. Her name was Virginia Dare. She became the first English child born in North America. At first, there was hope, but that hope would not last. The settlers arrived at Roanoke Island in July of 1587. Almost immediately, they faced problems. Supplies were limited, the colony lacked strong defenses, and tensions with nearby tribes still existed from earlier English expeditions. The settlers asked Governor John White to return to England for more supplies. White agreed. In late 1587, he sailed back across the Atlantic. The plan was simple: gather supplies quickly, then return to Roanoke within a few months. But history intervened. At that time, England was preparing for war with Spain. In 1588, the Spanish Armada threatened England's coast. Most ships were ordered to remain in England for defense. As a result, White could not immediately return to the colony. Years passed. Finally, in August of 1590, John White sailed back to Roanoke Island. What he found shocked him. The settlement was deserted. The houses had been dismantled. There were no signs of struggle, no burned buildings, and no human remains. The settlers had vanished. White searched the area carefully. Then he discovered a clue. The word Croatoan had been carved into a wooden post. Nearby, the letters Crow had been carved into a tree. Before leaving England, the settlers had agreed on a plan. If they moved to another location willingly, they would leave a message. If they were in danger, they would carve a cross above the message. But no cross was found. This suggested that the settlers may have left voluntarily. The word Croatoan referred to a nearby island, now known as Hatteras Island. It was also the name of a local indigenous group friendly to the English settlers. White wanted to investigate immediately, but severe weather and rough seas prevented further searching. Reluctantly, he returned to England. He would never see his family again. After that, the colony disappeared into history. Over the centuries, archaeologists and historians searched for evidence. Artifacts connected to English settlers have been discovered in parts of coastal North Carolina, including tools, pottery, and pieces of metal. But no single discovery has ever fully explained what happened to the Roanoke colonists, and the mystery continued to grow. So, what really happened to the lost colony of Roanoke? One theory suggests the settlers joined the Croatoan people. This is considered one of the most likely explanations by many historians. The relationship between the colonists and the Croatoan tribe may have been peaceful. Without supplies from England, survival alone would have been difficult. Joining a local community may have been the only realistic option. Some historical reports from later English explorers described indigenous groups with European features or knowledge of English customs. However, evidence remains limited. Another theory suggests the settlers attempted to relocate inland. Some researchers believe they moved toward the Chesapeake Bay area, where England originally planned the colony to settle. Archaeologists have discovered a few English artifacts farther inland, leading some historians to believe at least part of the colony traveled away from Roanoke Island. But again, no complete settlement has ever been found. Another possibility is disease and famine. The colony struggled with food shortages from the beginning. Harsh weather, isolation, and limited resources may have weakened the settlers over time. It is thought that some may have died from illness, while survivors scattered into nearby regions. Some theories suggest conflict with hostile groups. Relations between English settlers and certain indigenous tribes were complicated during that period. Historical records mention tensions and misunderstandings. However, no clear evidence of a major attack has ever been discovered. There are also more unusual theories. Over the centuries, stories emerged about secret Spanish attacks, mysterious disappearances, and hidden conspiracies. Some even claimed supernatural explanations. But historians generally agree that there is no evidence supporting these ideas. The truth is simpler, and perhaps more tragic. A small colony, isolated from help, struggling to survive in an unfamiliar land. And somewhere, over time, their story disappeared. Today, more than 400 years later, the lost colony of Roanoke still fascinates historians around the world. The mystery survives because of what was left behind: an empty settlement, a carved word, and silence. No official record ever explained the colonists' fate. No confirmed graves have been found, and no document from the settlers themselves has ever been discovered. Modern archaeology continues to search for answers. Excavations in North Carolina still uncover small clues connected to the colony. But even now, the final fate of the Roanoke settlers remains uncertain. Perhaps they blended into nearby communities. Perhaps they moved inland and slowly disappeared into history. Or perhaps the truth has simply been lost with time. What began as England's first attempt at a permanent colony in North America became one of history's most enduring mysteries. To this day, this remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. What do you think really happened? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe for more lost secrets and mysteries from the past.